Hi, I'm Denise Summers of Standout. If you'd like to be a featured guest on my show, please click on the button below. Hope you enjoy the episode. I'm Denise Summers, the host of Standout, the video series celebrating the successes of women business owners and leaders. Today we're joined by Pauline Greenidge of Upward HR, a Calgary-based HR firm focusing on workplace effectiveness for teams and individuals. So welcome, Pauline. Good to have you here today.
Thanks, Denise. Great to be here.
Yeah, so tell us about your path to becoming an expert on teams. How did you get to where you are today?
That's a great question. You know, I think I've always had a curiosity about people and sort of why they do the things they do. But when I really think back in my own background, always being sort of the only person of color in a classroom, right, or, in a setting is something that I didn't make a big deal of, but it was always there, and I think many people can relate to that. And it really kind of came to a head when we moved from the city to a small town where there was no one else who looked like me or who had the same kind of background as me. And so connection and belonging became something that I had to really focus on, as opposed to being a part of a group that I grew up with. And that's sort of I think the genesis of sort of why I'm focusing on the areas that I am and why I have, real genuine connection to it.
Right. And that belonging and engagement is so important to you that you wrote a book about it. Can you tell us about the book?
Yeah, the book is called A Grand Dinner Party, and setting the table for employee engagement through mergers and acquisitions. And so I wrote it because I was actually experiencing in my work life a big corporate disruption, and many of us have gone through it. People getting merged together, companies, getting bought out, and those kind of things taken over. And so what I noticed that was missing was not so much the pieces on the transaction, it was the people pieces, and how important it is to create a sense of belonging and connection when things feel very uncertain, there's a lot of moving parts, complexity, things are ambiguous, lots of volatility. People need to feel connected. People always want to feel connected and feel seen, but especially so when things are all up in the air around them at work.
Right, so they need to feel like they're part of the process.
Yeah,
right.
And I use the dinner party analogy because it is invitational, right? It is about, let's bring people to the table and set the place setting so people know what they're about to receive and make sure that there's a place for them at the table.
So that goes back to your mindset of invitation methodology, right?
Absolutely,
right?
Yeah.
And so what would your best advice be to frontline leaders?
I would say more now than ever, but always, it's timeless to focus and invest on your relationships. I think relationship. Even if you have a good relationship with your employees, I think there's real value in understanding and connecting. It makes every other part of how you manage work with your team, or even if you're an individual, how you connect to the work. You may be more focused on tasks, that's what gets you excited in your workplace, but you need to do that through your relationships. So it's advice that I would give to anybody, leader and individual, but especially for leaders, we need to model how we connect with others and create belonging so that you can get the best results, and quite frankly, to be competitive, to have that competitive edge. When people are feeling good about the work they're doing and how they do it, they're going to be productive, and that's what gives an organization a competitive advantage.
Right, and certainly adds to the bottom line and everything that happens within the organization.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Relationships are foundational when you think about consistency and being resilient, right?
Yeah.
So that's the advice that I would give leaders. Focus on meaningful relationships, meaningful conversations that help you build that relationship. And if you need more tips, I'm happy to help.
Yeah, no, exactly. And so where can people find out more about what you offer and get in touch with you?
I encourage anyone to visit my website, www.upwardhr.ca. Lots of great information on there about the services that we offer, but also if you want to schedule some time to connect and learn more, happy to have that conversation too.
And you offer a 30-minute complimentary consultation as well.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Yeah, and how can, what's your email address? How can people reach you for that?
info@upwardhr.ca. There's a great way to connect, and we can set up some time in our calendars and learn a little bit more about each other.
Wonderful. Well, thanks for joining us today, Pauline. Great to have you on the show.
Thanks, Denise. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
And that was Pauline Greenidge of Upward HR. I'm Denise Summers, your host of Standout. Thanks for joining us today, and hope you enjoyed the episode. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Remember, if you want someone to be a guest on our show, be sure to click on the link below. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe so you never miss an episode.